Thanks very much to Hampton and to David and to Keith in the booth and just HCC in making such a beautiful space for all this. We really couldn't do it without them. That introduction is accurate. I founded TuneCore along with two of my friends, Jeff Price and Gary Berg. We're all former members of eMusic, is where we sort of all met and we got our music business chops. There's a signal. I'm going to have to talk about what TuneCore is in order to give context to what I want to say today. And there's no way to do that without sounding like a pitch. But since everyone here is ultimately a musician and probably wants to, at some point, be in the largest stores in the world, why not start it as a pitch? So, TuneCore. It was an idea we came up with about 3.5 years ago, October, November of 2005. And ultimately, what we want to do is to get people to be distributed into the stores, iTunes, Amazon, eMusic, etc. So, the pitch. If you were an artist, or if you had a band, and you wanted to get your music into these stores today, you can do it. You would go to our website. You would enter the name of your band, you'd enter the titles of your songs, you'd enter in some basic data. You'd pay us a fee. It would be 99 cents for each track on the album once, 99 cents for each store you wanted the entire album to go into once, and each year, $19.98 to maintain it. I bring up the prices because it's important. The price is really what the revolution is about. Because there was a time in this industry when you simply could not get distribution unless you were yourself either a label or a very large label, like a major. You needed infrastructure, and you needed access. We're providing the access, and we're providing the infrastructure in a way that really didn't exist before. So, a little history. Your singers, your drummers, your musicians of all stripes. And there was a time if you wanted to be an artist, you had to spend $30,000 on a grand piano. Now we have electric pianos, smaller, portable. There was a time when if you wanted to have a big sound, you needed a big orchestra, lots of people. The means of producing music were expensive, difficult. You probably had to devote your life to them, or at least be in the know. The invention of the electric guitar, synthesizers, and now the computer. You can make music all on your own. It's something that you can do. What else could you do? You could also market yourself. It was small scale usually, but if you wanted to, you could stand on a street corner. You could hand out a piece of paper saying, come see my band, we're playing at this gig. How did you get that gig? That was something else you could do. You could talk to a promoter. You can say, we'll guarantee you we're going to fill these seats. We're a big band, we filled last time. Give us a chance. You could get band manager. You could do all of the things you wanted to become successful, including going into a studio, getting an engineer for a couple of $100 an hour, laying down some tracks. You take the tracks, you burn them to a CD, you press them into wax. In the old days, you even put them on tape. Ultimately, there wasn't a single element, a single point in the music-making chain that you couldn't control if you worked hard enough, except distribution. You got your stack of CDs or your stack of vinyl. How are you going to get it into Tower Records? How are you going to get it into Walmart, Target? Or if you think back to a time when it wasn't entirely multinationals, how would you get it into the mom and pop stores? When it was there, you can't be in 20 places at once. How do you make sure it's really on the shelves? How do you make sure it's really being sold? These were the roles of the distributors. And I want to talk a little bit about what distribution was in the days before digital, because it is exactly the way those relationships were built that caused the industry to move in a certain direction and which caused digital distribution to have to follow those footsteps. So, okay, you've made your music, you've got a band manager. Band manager has you signed with a label. That label is going to go to a distributor in the old days, and they're going to say, look, I'm going to front money. I'm going to front $10,000, and I'm going to produce CDs, stacks of them, boxes of them. I want you as a distributor to get them into the store. The distributor says, no problem. I've got a warehouse. I've got trucks. I've got liability issues covered. If there's insurance needs, I got those too. So you don't have to worry if my crate full of CDs is staying right under a leak in the roof. No problem, I got that covered. When the stores place an order, I'll fulfill it. The distributor also maintains fleets of trucks to deliver this stuff. The distributor also maintains sales reps who would go to the various stores and say, look, you want an order from the people whom I represent with my distribution. You're going to want their music. They'd wine them, they'd dine them. Sometimes they'd do more. But ultimately, the distributor made sure that your material was in the store. If you paid a little extra, and this was usually the label who wanted it. You know what an end cap is? If you've got the whole aisle of music and you have like the end of the aisle has a big stand and all the CDs are facing out, face outs. Cash register, that little point of impulse buy, got a little CD single there. A label would ultimately be paying a store sometimes to have a listing station up. The distributor would front that money. In other words, the distributor was taking on part of the risk. In fact, a tremendous part of the risk. And they had a right to determine a percentage. It only makes sense. Why should the distributor work that hard to get you into stores across the country, keep that much of a staff rate, if they didn't have a reason, if they didn't have a stake in it? So a distributor would take a cut. It all depended on the contract. I guess, let's see. Maybe 15% might be the bottom end, 35 might be the high, and it would average out to about 25. So you're the label. You haven't even begun to recruit any of your costs. And you know that a quarter of whatever your material is going to sell for, and that's what the store is going to pay. The store wants to take a cut too. The distributor is going to take 25% of that. And that's the way the world was until recently. There's only so much room on a shelf in Tower Records. There is an infinite amount of room on the shelf of iTunes. There's only so much stock you can keep in the back room. Only so many discs you can have, physical discs, in the store, in the back room, under the shelf, to replenish before they eventually run out. On iTunes and in the other electronic stores, the room is infinite. You know this. When distributors distribute now, they're sending out not a fleet of trucks, not a salesman, but a single contract signed once, and then the file is delivered. It's delivered electronically, FTP drops, and other kinds of ways that computers talk to each other. The store can then produce as many copies as they want from it, sell as many copies as they want. Stock never runs out. So my question is, why does a distributor still take a percentage? Where's the warehouse? Where's the trucks? Where's the fleet of salesmen and people that you're trying to make sure are working the stores and getting your product out there, getting it seen, getting it known? When we started TuneCore, we wanted to say there is no reason for a percentage to be taken. And it's why the heart of our industry has been when a store pays, because they're always going to take something off the top. iTunes is going to sell a song in the United States. It's under 5 minutes for 99 cents. Of that, they're going to take an amount. Of what's left, we're not going to take a penny. So, that's the pitch. There are other places that might take a percentage. There are other places that might do more. They might say, we want to act not just as your distributor, but to even take some of the things that a label might have done. Your rights, your masters, your publishing. They might want to make you exclusive so that you're not allowed to sell this material through anyone else or distribute it anywhere else for, I don't know, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever they sign you to. When a label does that, when they sign you, they're giving you something. They're giving you something huge. They're saying, I'm going to go and spend money on posters. I'm going to spend money on a tricked out van so that you can tour around. I'm going to set up all these gigs. I'm going to hire a manager. I'm also going to take the burden. You, as the artist now, don't have to spend $10,000 to print up a stack of CDs. I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to hire the artist to design the